Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with another video. And today we are joined with my friend Sean Humanchuk. And Sean actually started his wholesale business about 3 years ago in January of 2016. And today he's going to be sharing his story of how he's pretty much started a wholesale business on Amazon from scratch. And now in 2018, 2019, he's doing anywhere between $45,000 to $50,000 per month in his wholesale business. And he's selling around 1,800 items per month in his wholesale Amazon business. And what's really cool is Sean and I actually met about 3 years ago at the ACE conference by Sam Cohen. So now we're kind of recircling. And it was funny because he was talking about how he was like looking to get into it and wanted to start wholesale, or maybe you were just starting it. And now, man, like you're doing over like $700,000 a year. And I'm just so excited to hear your story. So what's going on, man? How are you, Sean?
I'm doing awesome, man. Steve, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Very cool to be a part of this.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. So it's crazy, man. Like, so share your story. Like when we first met, you were, I think, just getting started with wholesale back in 2016. You were at the ACE conference and like, how did you get into it and everything?
Well, I think at that point I was doing some shoes, doing RA still, and I was just getting into wholesale. I think I was just maybe a couple months into it, and it's a process. So especially when you're doing RA, you kind of want to ease into the wholesale. You don't want to give up all your profits right there, all your income, and just stop and do wholesale. Kind of eased into it. So I was doing a lot of shoes at that point. But originally I started drop shipping on Amazon, and then quickly realized the Prime badge is important, right? And I read Chris Green's RA book, and I stumbled upon Dan and Eric's Source, Sell, Profit course, which most people don't even know about. I think they only released it once or twice. That was their retail arbitrage course. So I did that for a couple months, and then very quickly realized it's a lot easier to buy stuff in bulk. If I can buy 100 of something and send it into Amazon and not have to do any more work for a month, I'd much rather do that. So I heard about their wholesale course, took that in January of 2016. And like I said, it took a couple months to get everything going, to get the business set up, to build a website, and to kind of feel like a real business. But you know, like I said, it took a couple months, but definitely caught traction. And after that first couple accounts, you really start to feel comfortable in sourcing wholesale, and you feel like a real business.
Awesome. So you decided to jump into Dan and Eric's. Well, you took their first RA course, and then you decided, you know what, I need something a little more scalable, automated.
Exactly.
And you found out about their course called the Wholesale Formula. So you went through that. Talk about your journey, maybe that first year, you know, in 2016, 2017, because now obviously you're doing really, really well, earning a full-time income, 45, 50K a month. But let's talk about that first year, some of the ups and downs, the struggles for the people who are watching now who are interested in this business model.
Sure. So, I mean, at first it's definitely, it can be overwhelming, especially when you come from RA, you come from just going to thrift stores and going into Walmarts and picking out clearance stuff. You kind of just, for me at least, I just kind of felt like a hustler, which is fine. I love hustling. Don't get me wrong. I was selling candy and all that good stuff when I was in elementary school, like, which is fine. But to have a real business where I wasn't going to have to hustle every single day constantly, I wanted to get into wholesale. And some of the struggles were, like I said, it was very overwhelming, trying to create this business entity. When I did RA, I didn't have an LLC. I was just, like I said, I was just flipping stuff. So you have to really become a real business, which is overwhelming to people. Then you have to create this website where you're portraying these value props, where you're making these claims where you're going to help these companies and these brands do better on Amazon. You're going to help their products sell more. You're going to, like I said, portray their brand story on Amazon, how they want it to be portrayed. And a lot of people deal with like a imposter syndrome, where they've never done a lot of these things, so they think they can't do them, and they're afraid to make promises that they can't keep. But you just have to dive in. Once you do it once or twice, it's like, oh, anyone can do this. And I mean, worst case, you outsource it. You know what I mean? That's a good thing about the Wholesale Formula and being a part of a community. You can ask these questions and find somebody to outsource these projects to. If you have to completely overhaul a listing, you can find somebody very easily and affordably to do that for you if you don't feel comfortable. So there are, I mean, like I said, there are definitely ups and downs. Profit margins can be up and down. Sometimes you'll notice when you get an account and it was very easy for you to get, it's very easy for everybody to get. So you'll notice the margin quickly goes down. But then once the margin's gone, sometimes all the sellers will back out and the profit margins will jump back up. So it's a tough game with some products. Ideally, you want to get into products that have a mapped price where the brand owner wants the product to be sold at a specific price and will only sell to sellers who honor that price. That way your margins are kind of protected. So that's the ideal situation, but not all brands care about Amazon enough to implement that, and not all brands have enough control of their distribution to be able to do that.
So that's interesting. You came from the RA thrifting, thrift store, garage sale world and doing all that.
It was mostly just Target clearance and GameStop clearance and all that good stuff. It wasn't
okay.
so much, it was all brand new stuff.
So more like retail arbitrage from like retail stores.
A little bit of OA and shoes, but yeah.
But it's pretty much like it's the same hustle as like thrift stores and garage sales. You constantly got to go out and get the bone, bring it back, another one, bring it back. So
but the margins aren't as good as the thrift stores.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, right. Thrift stores is like literally the best margins.
Yeah.
But you got to keep going out. So, now that you've moved into wholesale, what are some of the benefits of wholesale versus, retail arbitrage and thrifting and stuff like that? Because you've seen both sides of it, so you can give an honest opinion on it.
Sure. For me, it's the consistent repetitive income. Like I said, some margins can be up and down with some products, but when you find the consistent products, it's all you have to do is place the reorder, label the products on it. If you want to do the prep yourself, have a prep company, or you can have a prep company do it. Slap the labels on the products, send them out. And I would try to order around 45 days worth of inventory. So, I only have to place that reorder once every 45 days, usually just slap a label on the product and send it out. And then Amazon's taking care of the rest. And while all that is going on, while Amazon is selling those products or fulfilling those products for you, you're sourcing new products, looking at competitors to tracking their products, trying to take advantage of the brands that they're not helping out, that they're not providing value to. Looking at, you can do some sponsored ads and PPC to try to help out your brands, but a lot of times that's not necessary with wholesale.
Cool. Now, again, and I keep referencing like retail arbitrage and whatnot, because I know a lot of the people who are watching right now are doing the retail arbitrage, the eBay, the thrifting, garage sales. Would you say that it's possible for really anyone to be able to do this wholesale business model? Or is it, like when it comes to like private label and especially like Shopify, like not everybody really has the capacity to run Facebook ads and like run their own brand. And when it comes to private label, you're wearing all of the hats. You're controlling the whole entire brand, building everything out. And I would say for private label and Shopify, it's probably not for everybody, for most people. What about wholesale?
Do you
find it a little?
And I would say wholesale is not for everybody, but I think anybody can do wholesale. Anybody can be successful in wholesale. If you're resilient and if you have a little bit of patience and you're willing to work hard. And like I said, be patient for those results, because it's a lot of upfront work and setup and reaching out to brands. But once you've reaped those rewards, it's huge. And like I said, you just have to be willing to accept some rejection, be willing to take a lot of no's, because you're going to hear no from a lot of brands. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of Amazon sellers, right? And a lot of them are doing wholesale, and all they're doing is emailing companies, can I sell your products on Amazon? And they're getting, a lot of brands are getting bombarded with Amazon sellers reaching out. So a lot of them, they don't want to hear it. They just say no. They have a standard. If you mention e-commerce or Amazon, they're going to tell you no. But where the money is the follow-up. If you can, like I said, be resilient and find their pain points. Why are they saying no? What struggles have they had with Amazon? They've probably either dealt with some crappy Amazon sellers. They've had issues with selling to Amazon themselves. They've heard Amazon is the cheapest market around. You have to kind of educate these brands, but it's not hard. This is stuff that if you're on Amazon every day, you know how to optimize a listing. You know what listings look good and what listings look bad. I mean, like I said, when you get told no, I will literally take screenshots of competitive products that are doing really well on Amazon and take screenshots of their listing and say, look, your whatever your shampoo has all these benefits to it, but it has one picture, one bullet point with a couple words filled out.
I see that all the time, Sean. It's crazy. Like, it'll be selling well, but the listing's horrible.
Right. Or it'll be a great product, but not sell. It'll be selling well, but maybe not selling to its potential. And you show them their competitors, and maybe their competitor has, all 7 pictures filled out with great action shots and all their benefits laid out, talking about how organic it is and all these things. If you show that competitive product to a brand, they're gonna be upset that their product doesn't look good, that their product isn't being portrayed the way that they want it to, in a respectable manner on Amazon. Right. So that's just one way that you can brands don't realize that they have control over changing their pictures and titles and bullet points. When if they have a seller that's on their side working directly with them, you can do all those things.
Because I would say probably like most of these brands are like in business of like product development.
Sure.
And they're kind of worried about their own storefront. They're not naturally like very educated when it comes to selling on Amazon, because there's a lot to it for us and for everybody watching. Like, we understand Amazon. It's much easier to be aware of these things. But I guess my question to you, Sean, is like, when, like, I know, like, you're going and you're identifying like issues with the listing and whatnot. Are you just identifying and saying, hey, these are the things you should improve? Or do you say, hey, listen, I know somebody who can take great pictures. Let's work together. Like I'll help you with the title. I'll help you with the description. Like, are you actually working with them?
It's basically like, let me do these things for you. I will fix all of these for you.
For free.
For free. I mean, it's
like for free, but you better let me sell that item.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. If you're not going to get permission to sell the product, you're not going to make any money. It's not going to be worth your time. You need to get permission to sell the product. I have before done some work up front, hoping to get an account, and that's only, you have to kind of weigh your options. If the account is worth a potential $10,000 in profit a month, then you might be willing to do a lot more upfront work if you think the chance is real that you can pull that account. If the account's going to net you $500 profit a month, you're not going to do any work up front, you know what I mean, until you can sell that product and maybe make a little bit of profit. But to be honest, it's not a whole lot of work to do a little bit of keyword research.
Oh no.
And most of these brands have their products for sale on their own websites. So they have bullet points, they have descriptions already on their website. It's just that a lot of sellers aren't utilizing that information. So if you just work with the brand to put the description how they want, put the bullet points in the order that they want, and you use your Amazon knowledge to weave in the proper keywords that are relevant and things like that. And like I said, you work together, you work with the brand. You're not just going to do it all and by yourself, because a lot of brands, they want their products portrayed the way that they want. And if you're, if it's improper on Amazon to begin with, then you want to make sure if you're going to fix it, you're going to fix it the way that the brand wants it to be fixed.
So, that's really cool. Really interesting right there. So when you're working with these brands, obviously you're adding value, hoping to land that account. Are you trying to become like an exclusive seller, or are you just trying to get permission to break a deal with them? Because a lot of times you'll see a bunch of sellers on these listings. So
sure. And a lot of times just because there's a bunch of sellers doesn't mean there isn't a lot of profit to be made still. But for me, like in the beginning, I never go into a relationship or a wholesale account expecting them to give me an exclusive. Like, that's just, if you look at it from the brand's perspective, it just doesn't make sense. Why would they give this stranger who's never done anything for them, make these claims, but they don't know you? Why would they just kick off all these sellers that, maybe they're not necessarily happy with, but maybe they're not unhappy. Maybe they're not, providing a super amount of value, but they've been selling and honest. And why would they just stop selling to them for no reason? So I always tell people, never approach a brand asking for an exclusive right away. Especially, if you have, you have a couple $1 million business with, all this big reputation behind you, that's different. But especially someone getting started, please don't ask for please don't ask for an exclusive. You're just going to look stupid. But eventually, after you provide a bunch of value, yes, the goal is to work down from 10 or 15 sellers down to maybe 2, 3, 4. I mean, 2 is ideal, you and the brand, because you never really want to have one seller, because what if you get suspended? Then if you're the only seller on the listing, the brand sales should go to 0 for the whole time you're suspended, and then you look bad with the brand. So for me, I always try to have either me and the brand selling, or me and one other seller. That way, God forbid I get suspended or something happens where I can't purchase inventory, whatever, at least there's another seller and the brand is still making sales. Because I mean, your goal is to help the brand, right? Everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to profit off this business. But if you're not providing value and doing what's best for the brand, long term, you're probably not going to be able to stay with that brand.
Nice. Very cool. Appreciate you sharing that.
Of course.
How much money would you say that, from your experience, people need to get started with wholesale? Or maybe how much money did you have when you got started?
Well, I did have quite a bit of money. I had right around 10K that I was able to, and that didn't get invested right away because I wasn't able to find enough accounts right away. But I was doing the retail arbitrage, and I was actually delivering pizza and Chinese food for like the.
Oh man, I was a pizza boy too.
Hey man, it's good times, Papa John's. So I was actually making pretty good money, but I was, it's not the safest job. I got held up and I'd gotten into an accident. So it was like, it was, but like I said, I had some money saved up, kind of waiting for an opportunity like this Amazon thing to arise. So I had a good amount of money, but it wasn't necessary at first because it takes time to get some accounts and you're able to build that money. So I would say, you really need at least $1,000. I would say 2 to 3 would be best to have for inventory. Just because a lot of accounts you'll get will have like a $300 minimum or a $600 minimum order purchase. So you have to order at least that minimum, but to get to any type of threshold where you're able to make real profit on the products, you might have to order $2,000 worth or $1,000 worth. And you might only be able to start with one account, maybe 1 or 2 accounts. So you definitely, the more money you have, obviously the better, but I would say at least $2,000 you really should have for inventory, or it's going to be tough. I don't think you need that because you can just look for smaller products that aren't selling as much. You don't have to search for products that are selling 100 times a month. You can search for products that are selling 20 times a month and just build that capital. But I do think going into it, after your website and everything, you should have $2,000 for inventory.
Yeah, it seems like you'll probably, like, one of the biggest challenges, just after talking to different students of the wholesale formula and other friends of mine who do wholesales, when you're first getting started, you could start making sales quick, but you're dealing with that cash flow issue because you're investing in these, in these
45 days.
Yeah. 45, 60 day, whatever you're investing in. It's like they're selling, but you're not really getting your money. You have to keep building your accounts and building the sales. And then eventually, like, it kind of crosses where you're making a profit.
Yeah. You're making a profit because as long as you're selling, as long as you're selling those products in that month, you're going to turn your inventory. And I look for like 30% ROI. I do have some products that are a little less than that. I look more
That's
at
pretty
ROI.
solid.
I look at, I have some that are close to doubling my money, and they might not sell 100 times a month, but a product that profits $23 a unit and sells 60 times a month is a great product to have.
Wow.
So a lot of people, and this is a wholesale formula thing, that a lot of people are looking for this set number of sales per month. I don't stick to that. Especially now that I'm a little more seasoned, I have like certain niches that I try to stick to. But one thing I tell people is don't get stuck in these parameters where you have to make 30% ROI or you have to make 25% margin or whatever. You can't get stuck in those parameters because everyone's business is different. Everyone has different needs. Everyone has different overhead. Different people can accept different margins. And depending on the velocity of the product and the profit per unit, you can accept different, it's just, like I said, I tell people that are getting started, don't get stuck in these exact parameters that you hear in courses or, YouTube guys say, you have to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Put your own little spin on it, your own little twist.
Exactly. And you have to, and that's another thing when you're reaching out to brands, you don't want to do exactly everything to a T, just like is in the wholesale formula. You want to put a little personalization on it so you can stand out from everyone else that's doing wholesale. You know, being able to stand out, there's a lot to be said for it. When these brands are receiving 10, 12 emails a day or a week from people that want to sell their product, if you can be that one that is totally different and just gets them to reply, that you know what I mean, that's gold, you know.
You ever send like a video response? Because I get people all the time that like want to come on my YouTube channel or work together in different business propositions. And I always get like a ton of emails and they never stand out. Like I typically avoid emails because it's just so easy to just copy and paste. But one thing that I notice people do very well, and I've actually done it to reach out to other people in business, is I'll just shoot like a video, like a 60-second video and send it over. Have you ever done that? Or do you recommend like shooting a video?
I haven't done that. I did take a selfie of me with a sign like I need your product, and I had like a bunch of stuff behind me that was like related to it, and it was like, but it didn't work. It did not work. But that's the type of outside the box thinking that like most people aren't going to do. Most people they don't feel comfortable doing. I mean, myself, I don't really feel comfortable on camera, especially just talking to myself in a phone or something like that. Like most people, a lot of people, especially on Amazon, a lot of people are introverted.
Oh, wow.
So you really want to step out of your comfort zone. A lot of people, you know, they want to sit behind a computer, and that's a lot of people get into wholesale for that reason, because they think you don't have to talk to people. You can just sit behind a computer and run numbers and scan Excel sheets and flip products. But I mean, if you can, like I said, if you could stand out, if you can be personable, and resonate with a brand owner or even a sales rep, and just be different, it means a lot. And again, be informative, educate them, tell them what they could be doing better. If they say, no, we don't need any Amazon sellers, you say, okay, well, tell your Amazon sellers they should fix these pictures and these bullet points, because that's what a good Amazon seller would do. And then you reach out to them in 6 months when no one has done that, and you say, hey, I noticed your Amazon listings still look like trash. You don't want to say it in those words, but I noticed no one's helped you out on Amazon. None of your sellers seem to really care about your brand presence on Amazon. Are you guys ready to try out a new seller? Or, you know, you just got to think of different ways. Offer to do a 1 month trial run. Just say, sell me 100 of your product. That's it. And just, I'll show you what I can do to fix your, to help you out on Amazon. If you don't like it, then never sell to me again. Different things like that, to where they're not binded to an exclusive with you. Like that's no good. And you never want to put a brand in a position where they feel they're in a corner and they have no decision other than to say no and cut the conversation off.
Interesting. What are your thoughts? Your honest opinion, because that's one thing I really respect about you and the guys over at the Wholesale Formula. Like, you guys just tell it how it is. Like I'll be real, in my area with thrift stores, man, it's not the same as it used to be. 5 years ago, I could go into thrift stores and buy stuff for 50% less. All the prices are getting jacked up. eBay's still, perfect. And Amazon, there's not really much changes over there. The competition's growing, but the demand, more people are coming online. With wholesale, is it getting easier, harder? Do you think it's still a good opportunity in 2019, 2020 moving forward? Is there enough room for people to get in?
It would be a lie to say that it isn't different or harder than it was in 2016, for sure. And it was harder in 2016 than it was in 2014. You know what I mean? It's always going to be harder. 5 years from now, it's going to be even harder. But every day, new brands come on to Amazon, brands that were already established want to make their presence on Amazon. Brands are realizing how important Amazon is and wanting to weed out those bad sellers and bring on somebody to kind of consult them and walk them through the process. So, it's definitely harder, but I think that's a good thing, honestly.
Absolutely.
Because it weeds out the people that don't want it bad enough, the people that can't take a little bit of rejection, the lazy people. If you're willing to work hard, it's a huge opportunity. And honestly, one good wholesale account, just one wholesale account, can be life-changing. One wholesale account can net you $2,000 a month profit. And do
you have any like that?
I have one product that nets me, between the multiple products, it's well over $2,000 a month profit.
Well, let's talk. Don't tell us what it is, obviously, but I'm curious, how does that work? That's one product or a product line.
It sells for $100. I get it for $60. There's a $20 margin right there. And I sell over 100 of them a month.
Wow,
I mean,
that's crazy, right?
yeah.
Do you like to focus on items that are a little more expensive? Because items like $15 or less, that fee is so high that it
Sure,
just eats up
exactly.
all your profit. I feel like there's a
Exactly.
good opportunity with like bigger, heavier, like
And most
weirder
people,
items.
a lot of people, I mean, you know, it's hard to say to your audience who might be just starting out, might not have much of a bankroll, but yeah, I mean, if you have the money, the higher priced products that's what people are not going towards, because, you know, it costs a lot more to get started. You know what I mean? That $60 product, if I order 200 at a time, that's a $12,000 order. Most people don't, you know, getting started won't have the capital to do that right away. So it, you know, it's going to take time to maybe build up to that, but I like to go for higher price product, oversized products. A lot of people don't want to go for oversized products. They look for small, fits in a box, under a pound, all that good stuff. I look for higher price, oversized, things that people aren't looking at.
So for the people that are watching now who have 10, 20, $30,000 to invest, you know, there's people out there who watch and they might even have 50 to 100 and they're just sitting in a bank earning 0.001 or 2% in a CD. If you know what you're doing, this seems like an interesting opportunity to, if you're getting started, target, you don't have to spend all that money, but target some of these bigger, heavier items because you're going to have less competition.
Right. Less competition, and it's more profit per sale. Think about it. If you have a product that's selling for $250 and you're making $100 a sale or $80 a sale, excuse me, you don't need to sell a whole lot of that product to make it worth your time. You know what I mean? You sell a couple a month and you're making a couple $100 in profit a month, and it's less work. The higher priced products and the less individual unit sales, the less products you have to prep. I mean, I have one product that we sell a couple hundred of a month, but we make like $1.80 to $2 a piece off them. And I mean, you have to polybag them and label them. It's a consistent product. It's a consistent income, but it's a lot more work. And
do you prep them yourself?
I do some myself, and I have a part-time prepper that helps me. Actually, 2 part-time, but
Why not use a prep company, Sean?
Well, I mean, for that product, it wouldn't make any sense because by the time I get it shipped to me, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're looking at a prep company, which is, since we're talking about high priced products, right there is another benefit. You can use a prep company when you're making $60 a piece, or $50 or $20 a piece. You can afford to send that to a prep company, and they can, you know, charge you $1.50 or whatever it is that they charge you to prep each individual unit, and you're not worried about $1.50 on a $20 profit. You know what I mean? So you're making $18.50, but you never had to touch the product. And a lot of people, I know a lot of people in wholesale, they're very interested in never having to touch the product. And me, I get bored sitting behind a computer. I like prepping products. I don't mind it. I mean, it's not what I want to do 8 or 10 hours a day. Don't get me wrong. But I don't mind prepping products a little bit. So I prefer to keep it in-house. I have a storage unit with, they allow me to use their forklift and all. So I use that. But I like I said, I don't mind I do most of the prep in-house. I use Steve Peterson's warehouse in Carlisle for some of my stuff.
I got a friend who uses him as well. Okay, he's actually, going to be moving near him to utilize the warehouse. So your profit margins are around like what, 30% typically, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more.
No, my ROI is like 30%. The profit margins are going to be 15 to 20%. And that's of the margin on the overall sale price. But I look more at the ROI. If it's worth the ROI versus how much prep it's going to take. If it's worth it for me, then I do it. If not, I don't. And again, like I said before, everyone's different. Some people have that prep center cost that they have to work into their margin. So those socks wouldn't be good for a lot of people, because that's the $2 product, the profit product I was talking about. They wouldn't be worth it for a lot of people because they have to pay somebody $1 a piece to prep them. But for me, since I can pay someone $12 an hour to do it, and they can do a couple hundred pair. You know what I mean? It's very quick and easy. But like I said, that generally 15 to 20% is what I'm looking for. Under that, it's got to be like very, very fast moving product, high velocity, and not a lot of prep.
Cool. Awesome. Any advice or words for the people who decide to go through the wholesale formula? Maybe talk a little bit about it and kind of advice for maybe how to go through the course and how to take action. Were you going through the course and taking action step by step, or did you go through the whole course at first and then take action after it?
I went through the whole course one time, and then because again, I was doing the RA, I was doing shoes, and I didn't have the time to watch the videos, implement all in that span. So it took me a couple months. I went through everything, and then I rewatched everything and took action steps. I went through the whole thing and took notes, and then I went through and took action steps as I was watching the second time. And I mean, one of the biggest things for me was just like finding a mentor, finding someone who was already where I wanted to be, and just kind of following their steps. Again, like I said before, you want to kind of personalize everything. You want to stand out. You want to be a little bit different. You don't want to follow everyone to a T, or follow anyone to a T exactly. But you definitely find somebody that is where you want to be. And for myself, I wasn't looking at anybody that's doing millions of dollars a year, because that's not my goal. My goal is just to have like a nice sustainable business where I'm kind of my own boss. I was talking about it the other day. I kind of created a job for myself with this business, and a lot of people look at that as a bad thing, right? They're like that you don't have a real business. You just created yourself a job. And for me, it's a job that I like. I wake up happy every morning. I can take off when I want to take off. If I don't feel like working this week, I don't really have to, you know what I mean? You can send in extra inventory and take a vacation. It's a great life. Honestly. I mean, when you're first getting into it, it definitely can be overwhelming. But once you get those first couple accounts, you realize, you see that, you see the possibilities, and then eventually you land an account that, will pay your mortgage every month. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's life-changing, seriously.
I'm so happy for you, brother. It's crazy to see your journey, man, and how far you've come. Did you have a job when you were first starting? I know there's a lot of people who, want to start an online business, but they work a job, a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Maybe you could give some
Yeah.
context.
So like I
to
said,
that.
I was delivering pizza and Chinese food for like the 4 years. Let's see. So I started drop shipping on Amazon in like August of 2015, and then got into RA after a month or two, and quickly got into the FBA. And then I was working that whole time up until July of 2016. So it was about 7 months after I joined the Wholesale formula, to where I had enough money saved up, and I had enough of a consistent income where I felt comfortable quitting my job and relying on Amazon. So like I said, it took a good 7 months before, it was something consistent where I was, felt comfortable. And it's going to take longer for some people. It's going to take shorter, it's going to be shorter for others. Everyone's different. And like I said, that one account or those two accounts can really just change everything for you.
Love it, brother. Any final words or advice you would give to somebody who wants to start this business but doesn't know the best way to start? Maybe, they're watching these videos and they're excited about it, but they're just like, I don't know if I can do it. What's my first step? Any advice you would give?
Yeah, man. So like I said, find a mentor or a course. If it's not the Wholesale formula, find somebody that resonates with you, who's done it before, who is where you want to be, and kind of, emulate what they're doing. Work hard. Don't be afraid of rejection and failure. Cause I mean, we didn't get into this, but I mean, I've had accounts where, making great, a couple $1,000s a month, and all of a sudden the brand decides they want to sell on Amazon themselves. So like things like that can happen. And you never know. Sorry.
It's all
you never
good,
know
brother.
what's going to happen. Sorry.
Yep.
You never know what is going to happen. But Amazon's ever changing, and these brands are always changing. But you just don't give up. Constantly look for new products to source. The accounts that you do have that you provide good value to, they will recommend you to brands that they're affiliated with, and friends that own products and different things like that. So I mean, just never give up. You know what I mean? That's really it. Don't be afraid of the rejection, because you're going to get rejected in Wholesale. You're going to fail. Just keep pushing onward, man.
Love it, man. Love the final words of wisdom. So if you guys enjoyed this video, do us a big favor and like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys are interested in checking out the Wholesale Formula, the course is open this week. It's open for 1 week, so I'm not exactly sure when this video is going to be published, but I'll put some details down below in the description. And also, if you guys do join the Wholesale Formula, just for being a follower of Rake and Profit, I am throwing in a $2,000 bonus as well. So if you want to grab that, you can check out the details in the description. But yeah, super freaking awesome hearing your. I love talking to people and then like chatting with them again, like years down the road and seeing them successful. And it's just this one of the things I love about having this YouTube channel and just meeting people at conferences and stuff. Like Sean, you're an inspiration. And I don't know if you realize it or not, man, but your story, there's going to be somebody who's listening and watching right now. And they're going to be like, wow, like if Sean could do it, I could do it. And they're going to get started. And I'll probably interview them in 2 years and hear their success story. So, man, I appreciate you.
I hope so, man. That's the reason for me doing it. Honestly, I hope it just helps one person. That would be great. And definitely, if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's for sure.
All right, brother. Hopefully, maybe one day we could catch up and grab a drink sometime. We're not too far away from each other. So
sure,
I appreciate you, brother.
And anybody out there, if you want to reach out to me on Facebook or whatever, any questions, or if you want to just get a personal message for a little bit of insight or hear something about the course, reach out. No problem.
Sure. Awesome. I'll put some of your information down below as well. But Sean, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys all watching.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great day and talk soon.
Later,
Thanks,
man. Have
Sean.
a good weekend.
Take care, guys.